In terms of how many entities you need, it depends on what you're doing, right? So at the very, very basic level, most syndications have a minimum of 2 LLCs. So one is the LLC where, it's the actual investment company where it holds the property and investors are investing into that LLC, right? And in that way, in a sense, they are directly secured. The other LLC is a manager LLC, right? And that's where the sponsor lives, and the manager owns a portion of the actual investment LLC. Okay, so that's your most basic. Some people, when they do this for various reasons, they want to use 3 LLCs, right? And the extra LLC is just an LLC in the middle. Sometimes it's for banking account purposes, like they don't want the property manager to see how much is actually in the bank account of the investment. And so investors will be invested into one. The property is held in another, and it's wholly owned by the investment company one, but all the investment funds are there, and then it's slowly deployed down to the other LLC where the property manager may have access to the bank accounts to get bills paid, things of that sort. And then you've still got the manager LLC. Now, to the extent that there's more than one property, I always say that it's wise to put each property in its own LLC, because what happens is if there is like a slip and fall case on property one, the people who are suing you, you don't want them to recover against the assets of property two, right? So you're segregating all that liability, okay? Now, I think maybe it also makes sense to clarify the different types of real estate syndication that there are, because that means that there's also different strategies, right? So the 3 basic types are single asset syndication, and that is where you are syndicating or you're raising capital for one property specifically. You probably have that property under contract, so it's very easy for you to identify, right? A semi-specified fund is where you might have 2 or more properties. Maybe you have identified one, but maybe you haven't identified the others, right? And so it's a multi-property fund where your investor knows at least one of the properties, but they're going to trust you on the other ones, okay? And the last one is the blind pool, right? And that's really where you don't have any properties identified. The investor is basically investing into a fund that would then deploy funds as the manager sees fit.